Next up is, as I said, a very, very interesting conversation because it is really an example of how kaleidoscopic our political life is and what keeps Indian democracy just so vibrant and so alive. Personally speaking, one has great respect for politicians. It is perhaps the most difficult job in the universe. And to keep their sanity, keep some degree of ethics, some degree of hope alive in the cauldron that is Indian politics, but politics anywhere in the world, it truly is a stormtrooper's job. And a great exponent and a warrior of that is Kapil Sibal, who has, of course, held many, many positions of power and influence as the law minister, as science and technology minister, as the HRD minister, as a minister of how did I blank out on that? I'm so sorry, Kapil. This is just from you having too many portfolios, and of course, he's one of the leading lawyers in the country. So he really sits in the cockpit of the most vexed questions that face this country. What is fascinating about Kapil also is that he gave up a very lucrative personal, professional life to serve the country as a politician, and we often forget that it really isn't service. With all its warts and all, politics is a service of the country. We all exist and with the freedoms we do because there are others fighting those battles for us. So it'll be fascinating to hear from Kapil how he views this cyclical change, what introspection has led to it, how much is circumstance, how much is the failure of others, and whether there really is going to be a much more robust multi-politics available to us as a democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Kapil Sibal. Forgive me, Kapil, what was the fourth portfolio you had?
Telecommunications and IT.
Telecommunications, that's right. I'm so sorry.
That's what Kiran was talking about.
Yes.
Information technology.
Yes, yes. So, and of course, Kapil has written a book called The Shades of Truth, which is a very fascinating book because, of course, it can be deemed partisan. It looks at the many ways that the Modi government has failed its promise. But what does set it apart is that it is really backed with a lot of data drawn from independent sources, not from the Congress Research Cell. And so it is a convincing book because it puts out empirical facts for why Kapil is making the arguments that he is making. So we're going to give him an opportunity to take on Mr. Modi's regime, but we'll also hopefully get a lot of introspection about what went wrong with their own regime. So let's start with that then, Kapil. As you said earlier, that your book covers a lot of big issues in the country and the ways in which the Modi government made a lot of promises and failed. Let's pick 2 or 3 of those, and if you could spell out with some hard facts, say on jobs and other important issues, in what ways have they failed and what are those hard facts?
I think we must look at the Modi regime not in the context of a particular act of this government. I think it's the overall overview of what this government really stands for. And the one feature that worries me most is that the difference between government and the political party has vanished. It's never been seen in the history of this country before. Now, if you really look at this government, you find that everywhere, wherever the wheels of government are turning, you have an RSS Pracharek sitting there. Whether it's vice chancellors of universities or governors in states or ministers in the government of India or directors in the IIT or people in investigating agencies, whether it's NIA or it's CBI or it's CDC. So all those who are closely affiliated, one with Modi personally and 2 with the RSS, are holding the reins of power. So the wheels of government will only turn when somebody close to the RSS and close to Modi himself seeks some favors from government. The rest are excluded. Now, so far in the history of this country, when people were in government, they would consider every citizen who may be affiliated with A, B, or C, but as a citizen of this country. Now, when they look at you, they want to figure out, are you with RSS, are you with Modi? if you're not, you're excluded. That's something that's never happened before in this country, and that's really the worrisome part.
But is that a fair assertion, Kapil? Because, I accept that it's a huge worry, because certainly it's an ideology, again, speaking from a partisan point of view, that one doesn't want the country's essentially ethos to change. But in all fairness, isn't that part of democracy? That when your government was in power, or any party comes into power, you do put into position of influence people who are broadly aligned with your political overview. And that would have been the case even with your government. So, for instance, the RSS, you were never put as a governor someone who has a RSS background or a Hindutva agenda. So now that a party has come, why are they wrong to put their people?
The governor says that my first commitment is to the RSS. That's what governors have said in this country. My first commitment is to the RSS, thereafter I'm a governor. What's wrong with somebody being in the RSS? So I'm not against that. The question is that if contracts are given, they have to be given to the RSS people. This doesn't happen. You see, people, before you appoint a director, you will first find out who is close to us. This never used to happen. I used to be in the HRD ministry, I used to be in telecom. When we appointed directors, we would have a selection committee, and I would never interfere. Whoever the selection committee decided, they would give us a name of 3 people, and we could choose one of them. So these considerations never came into being. See what's happening at universities. I mean, there is complete unrest in universities because the ABP is infiltrated into every university. You've seen it in Hyderabad, you've seen it in JNU, and they are disturbing the peace, and the government is supporting them. If you really look at prosecution, let's take another example. And this is very interesting. When you look at what happened post-Godhra, there were about 95 people were prosecuted for murder and all kinds of charges post-Godhra. And nobody got paid. Nobody got paid. 31 people were convicted. In other words, 64 people were acquitted, but they were in prison for 8 years or 10 years. Nobody got paid. Pre-Godhra, when those accused, I'm talking about post-Godhra. In post-Godhra, there is hardly anybody who didn't get paid. Right? Look at Bombay riots. In Bombay riots, post those who were charged with the riots, the RSS people, everybody got bail. 2 were convicted, Sarpotar and one other person, right? And he was granted bail the day he was convicted. Nobody ever served any prison. And 295 people were killed. 780 people were killed, out of which 500 odd were Muslims and 295 were Hindus. But they got bail. When it came to the Muslim community, nobody got bail. So when you have this kind of mindset, a majoritarian mindset in the country, then it's worrisome, because what really happens if 16 million, 160 million people, 170 million people feel excluded from the system, you're going to have problems in the times to come. That's my worry.
That is a very valid point, Kapil, about millions of people feeling disenfranchised from the system. But as far as the Bombay riots is concerned, there were Congress governments in succession after that in Maharashtra. So it's unfair to then...
No, again, you're talking about as if I'm sitting here as a congressman. I'm not sitting, I'm talking about state machinery. It doesn't really, I don't care who was in power, who was not in power. It's the state machinery, it's the mindset of the policeman, it's the mindset of the student, it's the mindset of, I'm talking about mindsets. Now what this government is doing is encouraging those mindsets. When Kiran talked about lynching, there is a correlation between the person who puts that image on the social media and the person who goes out on the streets and kills and lynches. It's the confidence of the person who puts it on the social media that I'm going to have that effect. And that majoritarian culture, that mindset on the street, who kills, there is a correlation between the two. And that correlation is being encouraged. It's being encouraged, for example, in Uttar Pradesh. What is happening? The persons recently...
Bulandshahr,
what happened? The accused is granted bail, and the victim becomes the accused. And we've seen this happening in the last 4.5 years. The victim becomes the accused, and the accused is granted bail. You sat and see what's happening in the prosecutions, whether it's Malegaon, or it's Samjhauta Express, or it's Ajmer Sharif. Everything is turned 360 degrees. Now, how do you explain this? You can't explain this, except for that mindset which is controlling India.
No, and in consonance with that, Kapil, one would again remind the audience that both with the Dadri lynching as well as the recent Bulandshahr riots where a policeman was lynched by a mob to death, the police repeatedly said that they would first investigate in the Dadri case whether it was beef or mutton. And right now in the Bulandshahr case, they said we will first investigate the carcass and then the death of the policeman, and the other people who died and who was really instigating the mob. So no arguments on that, Kapil, but just to come back now to another point, which is, we were just discussing with Kiran about the NPAs, and you have repeatedly said that actually it was Mr. Vinod Rai's false claim about the many lakh crores that was lost in the telecom sector as well as the coal scam that really led to the NPA problem. Kiran himself is sitting here and saying that actually it's political intervention that allowed this exuberance to kick in. How would you defend yourself on that?
Well, let me just explain what this NPA is all about. You cancel 122 licenses, right? Pursuant to some, figure of 1,76,000 crores given by Bengaluru at that point in time. Now, and the Supreme Court thing. First of all, the licenses are cancelled, then the opposition gets into the act, the electronic media gets into the act, then the Supreme Court gets into the act, and they cancel all the licenses, they say there is corruption, right? Then the matter goes to trial. When the matter goes to trial, there is not a charge about loss. The CBI does not claim any loss. The charge is corruption. And at the end of the trial, the judge says, I've been waiting morning to evening to get evidence on corruption. And they have been in power, right? No evidence comes out. And the trial court, in fact, indirectly overturns the Supreme Court verdict. Because the Supreme Court, prima facie, said there is corruption, so people should be investigated and prosecuted. And the trial court says there was no corruption. So what does that tell you? In the meantime, what happens is, you say spectrum that was allocated at 1,680 crores should be auctioned. So spectrum is auctioned. When spectrum is auctioned, the price is 10-15 times more, right? So when you buy 5 megahertz spectrum at 4,000 per megahertz instead of 1,680 crores or 5,000 per megahertz for 5 megahertz, what is the result? You've borrowed money from the bank. You must make enough profit in the system to repay that. At 1680, you could do that. At 5,000, you can't. So Etisalat went out, Telenor went out, Sistema went out, Reliance went out, Tata went out, Vodafone is in debt, Airtel is in debt, the sector is in debt of 5 lakh crores, 5,75,000 crores. And the sector that was booming was destroyed by the NDA because of their opposition. Those are the facts. Nobody can dispute those facts. Okay? Now let's talk of coal. 1,86,000 crores. What happened? All the coal blocks that were allocated from 1993 were cancelled by the Supreme Court. So I have a power plant. I have invested 20,000 crores in that power plant. I have a captive coal mine. It is taken away from me. Where do I get coal from? Coal India doesn't produce enough coal to supply to all the power plants, or to the steel units, or to the cement factories in India, right? So I have to import coal. The price of imported coal is 3 times higher, so I make a loss. And because I make a loss, I can't pay back my loan because I have invested 20,000 crores in a power plant or 10,000 or 15,000 crores. So the power sector is finished. That's why the NPAs are 12% of the total advances, right? The steel sector is over. It's a little better nowadays. The cement sector is in trouble. So what is the reason for that? The 1,86,000 crores. And the opposition, and now Mr. JP says, we are responsible for it. Yes. Because of your opposition, see, remember, resources are meant for the community. Resources are meant for consumers. If you tell me that I want to set up a school in Bangalore, in 1 acre of land, and instead of allocating it to me at a subsidized price, I have to buy it at auction, which would be 100 crores. Why would anybody set up a school? Setting up schools are meant for children, not for government to make money. The telecom sector was meant to service consumers, not government to make money. The coal sector was to service the power sector, not for the government to make money. The auctions made the government make money, but destroyed the sectors. That's what happened. And that's the reason for the NPS.
That's
the same thing with hospitals. If I want to build a hospital, if you auction the land, why will anybody build a hospital?
Look, Kapil, in fact, that issue about judicial activism and economic decision making is a very tricky zone. And if we have time, we'll come to that. But just to finish this one point, that it's also fair to accept that there were many, many companies that were really squatting on those coal mines. They were not creating power plants. And you know that right up to the point when the licenses were cancelled, for several years they had not...
You don't know the procedures. Remember, when you have a coal block, you just don't produce coal the next day. There is a whole lot of procedures. It takes about 7 to 10 years to start production in a coal plant. 7 to 10 years, right? So you're wrong. And why were the licenses of 1993 cancelled? And remember the consequence of that. They said that the person whose license is cancelled will not participate in the auction till he pays back at some exorbitant sums of money at 295 rupees per metric ton of coal. And people have to pay 10, 15, 1,000, 5,000, 6,000 crores or 2,000 crores or 1,000 crores to participate in the auction. And none of the auctions have succeeded because nobody is willing to buy coal at that price. So the auctions have failed, the sector has failed, and we're in these doldrums and the economy is 7.2%.
Well, so Kapil, I've given you a chance to say, as I said, there's a lot of data in your book and one must bow to that. So it's not just partisan politics that, that you're espousing. But let's come a little bit to the immediate elections. The Congress seems to have bounced back in 3 states. As I said, the last time Shashi Tharoor was here, this was an audience that was very hostile to Rahul Gandhi. But Rahul seems to have earned a certain amount of goodwill by sheer dint of working. But in that, Kapil, what is your introspection? Why did the Congress come down to 44? What has made it come back a little bit into power now? And are you merely going to, wait for Modi to fail, or has the party done some introspection?
No, I don't have to wait for Modi to fail. He has failed. So that's not a problem. But certainly, and I think I cannot possibly exude overconfidence. Personally, I think we have to be very careful. Modi is a vast master. He is very, very Machiavellian in whatever he does. And he'll have something up his sleeve. I think the problem with this government is while they make a lot of promises, on the ground the delivery system is terrible. And we can demonstrate it in all the schemes that have been sort of implemented. Take Ujjwala, for example. Now he says that, look, I've given gas collections to millions of people. Look at the woman, the poor woman belonging to the disadvantaged communities got gas in a Chaudhury. The fact of the matter is that the only thing the government has done is said that you don't have to make your security report. But for the first gas connection, you have to pay, but you have to pay in installments. In the second gas connection, you have actually to pay the market price. Now remember, 790 million, 800 million people in this country earn less than 10,000 rupees a month, which means the total population of the United States and Europe put together is less than 800 million. And in India, they earn less than 10,000 rupees a month. Now the price of the gas today has increased 1.5 times of a gas cylinder. That poor person, that poor lady in a Chaudhury has no wherewithal to pay for gas. So the result is that the first gas cylinder was free, but nobody has used the next gas cylinder. That's what happened to Ujjwala. And he talks it, and I can now tell you about each scheme like that. The same thing with the farmers. The farmers today, for example, onions are being sold at the moment as I talk at 50 paisa a kilo, or 1 rupee 50 paisa a kilo, when the farmer used to get 1 rupees a kilo for that onion. Now, the problem, see, you have to work on the ground to solve problems. You can't be up in the air, flying from one capital to another, and hugging people and think that the problems of India will be solved.
No, fair enough, Kapil. But you know, it's evident now in which ways Mr. Modi's government has begun to disenchant the people. But my question to you was something else, which was that is the bouncing back of the Congress merely going to be on the fault lines of Mr. Modi's regime, or have you done some introspection? What is the positive agenda the Congress has?
I think these are very, there's no simple answer to this, because elections are a very complex business. First of all, the government that is in power is always, on the slide down. Always. This happens because people's expectations are high. You don't meet people's expectations, so they get disenchanted. So that's one factor. The second factor is that there is, in every state, a caste equation. And there's an alliance equation. Now, in the last election, even though BJP got 31% of the vote, they still got an absolute majority because our alliances were not right. We didn't really tie up with the parties. So the alliance factor is going to count a lot. And the two key states in India are Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. In Bihar, everything is fine. In Uttar Pradesh, I think we have a general understanding that Akhilesh, Mayawati, ourselves, and Ajit Singh are going to go together. If these alliances are in place, there's no way the BJP can win. That's the second factor. The third factor is that Rahul Gandhi has come on his own. Now he's sort of exuding confidence, he's attacking the government, and he's actually connecting with the marginalized, especially the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, the poorer sections of society, the farmers. So that's a third factor. The fourth factor is that the BJP actually maxed in the Hindi heartland. They got all the seats in Gujarat. They got all the seats in Rajasthan.
Forgive me, Kapil, but you are speaking about the maths of elections. But people are also interested in the vision that drives politics.
You asked me what's going to happen next time, so I'm telling you, vision. See, people want to know what you're going to do for them, but people don't vote for you on that basis many a time, because it's caste politics many a time. It's only caste politics.
That's not entirely fair, Kapil. The 2014 election was one on rhetoric. It may have turned out to be jumlabazi, but in all fairness, it was a new rhetoric that was about governance.
It was rhetoric plus. I don't want to say what the plus is.
Rhetoric plus. But there was still a rhetoric of governance, of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, which people bought into. They are disenchanted by it, but they bought into that. I'm again putting the question to you that today, what is the vision with which the Congress is going to
Well, if you have to ask me particular, first of all, we are not in government, we have to have a manifesto. But if you ask me particular sectors, I'll give you the vision.
Not so much sectors. What is the introspection about why the Congress came down to 44? And what was that lap? You said quite often that what was a big disadvantage for the Congress in 2014 was that Mr. Modi deployed the communications revolution and that you could not speak to the people the way he did.
That's right.
But today the 3 states you've won, it's the same communication era. Do answer the question that what is this introspection of being down to 44 created within the Congress?
As I told you, and I've said so in my book, that perceptions got over, and it's really the perception that won. The reality was different. Everybody said there's a policy paralysis in the UP, right? That was the perception. And what's the reality? The reality is that the first UPA years, the first 5 years, the average growth rate was 8.3%. The second, it was 7.9% and an average of more than 8%. Right? That was policy paralysis. When in the last 5 years, almost 5 years, there's no policy paralysis, the great growth rate is 7.2%. So I want to now take the question and ask you the question, is that because we failed Or is that because the perception succeeded? That's the question. There was a conspiracy out there. People were brought to Leela ground. Who was bringing these people to Leela ground? The RSS. Who was funding? The opposition and the RSS. They were all funding. And this yogi, what's the name of that guy? No, not this fellow. The Leela ground. Ramdev.
Who you went to the airport to receive.
Yes, Ramdev. Right? Which is a big mistake. We should never have gone to the airport. Why should we have gone to the airport at all? But we went there because we thought that we should not allow him to come to Delhi. Really. Because that's why we didn't allow him in. And he told us, look, as far as he is concerned, he's not anti-A, B, or C, and he's going to move out of Leela ground in 2 days, but he went back on his promise. And because they had already decided what to do, and then of course they had much more money than we did. Their money power was used, the social media was used, and they created a perception that this was a government that had failed, and a corrupt government. And that corruption rhetoric started in October 2010 with Vinod Rai's report of 1,70,000. So allegations of corruption. And remember what Kejriwal was saying. He was sort of abusing people, and nobody said anything at that point in time. He was saying everybody is corrupt, all ministers are corrupt. So that corruption rhetoric, the social media, money power, conspiracy, perceptions, they got the better of us.
Kapil, and I'm going to move to another question, but I'm just giving you this, one more sort of chance to really say this, which is that you're analyzing all the blocks and pieces of what went wrong with the government or what others did wrong by you. But I'm again asking you that if you were today to speak to this audience, or indeed to people at large,
what did we do wrong?
What do you have to recommend yourselves? Why should this country vote for?
Well, first of all, we never created the environment that is being created today in this country. I think we want India to be together, India to be united, India to have a sabka saath, sabka vikas. Truly, we really want that. We want that. It's not happening today, but that's what our vision is. If you talk about, and I think Kiran was absolutely right. If you talk about, I think we need to reach technology to people. I think a child in the classroom should have an Akash on his or her hand and be able to access a maths teacher who's giving a lecture of maths in Delhi, the best teacher, because he doesn't have a teacher in the rural areas. So we need to connect people. We need to make sure that there's a market mechanism working in the rural areas so that the farmer gets the appropriate price for his produce. We need enormous radical changes in the health sector. We need the hospitals to reach people rather than people coming to hospitals. Right?
So Kapil, the other thing that you just mentioned about the 800 million people who are impoverished in this country, would you accept that that's the one fair sort of accusation that, say, Mr. Modi's regime holds, which is that pretty much Congress has been in power for 70 years, in bits and pieces, there may have been others. But so the state of the country today, by and large, does land at the Congress's doorstep.
Shoma, I think we must make you a minister and understand what problems we face as we move.
No, I see that. I already caveated by saying the profession of politics is to be respected.
These are not issues. Every policy prescription when I was HRD minister was opposed by everybody. Because there is no one policy prescription, there is no one both sides fits all in India. What you do in the northeast is different from what is in Uttarakhand. What is good for Uttarakhand is not good for Chhattisgarh. What is good for Chhattisgarh is not good for Maharashtra. What is good for Maharashtra is not good for Jammu Kashmir. So the problem is you are dealing with now 1.3 billion people. Any policy prescription is very, very difficult to get the support of everybody. So it's not easy, number one. Number two, when you talk about poverty, see from where we started and where we are. At the time when we got independence, India was 16% literate. 16%. We're now 74% literate. Now you can tell me, look, why is it not 100%? You're right. But the question is, there are several roadblocks in getting to 100%. Let me give you an answer. For example, you don't have teachers. How do you recruit teachers? Government doesn't have enough money, to set up institutions to recruit teachers, right? If you don't have those institutions, you won't get B.Ed teachers. The private sector is not willing to go to rural areas. Why? The private sector works for profit. So if he wants to set up an institution, it will set up in Bangalore or in Delhi or someplace like that. It won't go to a rural area. So where do you get teachers from rural area to rural areas? How do you get them to go to rural areas? If you have an advertisement to recruit a teacher, say in the state of Bihar, they say, why do you limit it to state of Bihar? You should have an advertisement that allows people to compete. If somebody from Madhya Pradesh gets a teaching post in Bihar, he will not go to Bihar. Right? So you have to have local recruitment. When you have local recruitment, there's a writ petition filed. Why should you have local recruitment? You must have a state-wise recruitment. If you want a state-wise recruitment, a writ will file. Why do you have an all-India recruitment? These are the problems that you face. It's easy for you to tell me why should look where we started, where we have come. कहाँ से तू चला था, कहाँ आ खड़ा है? कहाँ से तू चला था, कहाँ आ खड़ा है? So remember. And look, we're now launching satellites, we're having our geo system ourselves, we're into geospatial technologies, our information technologies, we're now manufacturing our own aircraft, so that there is not one that we can manufacture. So we are manufacturing our own aircrafts, we're doing exceptionally well in information technology, we're leaders in information technology in many fields. India has done exceptionally well, but of course, you can always criticize systems. I'm not saying that we are perfect. We made a lot of mistakes. We failed in a lot of areas, but at least we had the heart in the right place. We wanted to do something for the country, not jumlas.
Yes. So Kapil, let's come to the fact that even Mr. Surjit, we've been talking about data. I think at least one of the most worrying and disturbing trends recently is that one no longer trusts data put out by the government, and I think that is something that we're not focusing on strongly enough. Now,
just tell me in which area do you trust? Just give me an answer.
Well, I'm not putting my
data
personal...
you don't trust, jumlas you don't trust. Right? What do you trust? Togetherness, vikas. Nobody talks about vikas anymore, no development. Achhe din, you trust the achhe din. Well, you tell me. I mean, this audience is here. That's the problem that has happened. That's something that's really happened in the last 4.5 years. We have lost trust in the people who are governing the country.
But just to come to this instance of data manipulation, Kapil, I think it's very, very pertinent. It's not just Mr. Urjit Patel or Raghuram Rajan. There are many very upright people who've been leaving positions of power. We've had the judges speaking up. To me, the most interesting resignation is Mr. Surjit Palla's, because he is somebody who actually is a great Mr. Modi acolyte. He definitely has believed in Mr. Modi.
Let me tell you about Surjit Palla. During the years that he was appointed, Modi never met him. He never met him.
But I would say that that's just,
so
that speaks well for Mr. Balla, that he's continued to believe in Mr. Modi's policies, but he recently resigned over the GDP manipulation. He said that this is something that he doesn't feel comfortable about at all. My question to you is, it's not that Mr. Modi has now absolutely changed all the economic institutions, the statistical institute. What is going on, Kapil, and how are we going to really believe in national data now? If your government comes to power, how are you going to fix this?
Absolutely. Well, nobody doubted the data that we had put out. And I think that Dr. Manmohan Singh was very clear about these things. As far as data is concerned, there is no question of manipulating data. But now, of course, as you know, it is Niti Aayog who decides what the data is going to be, no longer the CSO. And the figures that were given by the CSO earlier were revamped. So this is really a problem. And unfortunately, this is most unfortunate, that the finance ministry hasn't put its foot down. That's really what's really unfortunate. Because the finance ministry should have said that we're not going to allow this. But I guess everything works through the PMO nowadays. Nobody else really matters.
So give us some insight, Kapil. What has changed in Rahul Gandhi? That for all these years, he's been a leader that even internally the Congress didn't quite believe in. What has changed in these few months? Has there been some guidance? Has there been some introspection? What is the game changer where he's concerned?
I think
and has the game changed?
He was not allowed. He was not allowed at any given point in time because Mrs. Gandhi was in control. Ever since he's become president, and Mrs. Gandhi keeps away completely. She says, whenever you ask her, she says, you go to Rahul and And so he is the fulcrum around which the party is functioning. And he's taking independent decisions, and he takes feedback from everybody. And unlike Mrs. Gandhi, he's exceptionally aggressive. And I think that's worked. And he's again, he has his heart in the right place. He really wants to do something.
But you know, the Congress has often spoken about bringing in the youth now and of having a new kind of politics. When push came to shove, finally they did choose Mr. Kamal Nath and they chose Ashok Gehlot as chief ministers. Speaking for yourself, do you think this was a wise decision?
See, again, this is very complex. It's not easy. If you want to run a government, you must have experience in running a government, number one. Number two, when you don't have an absolute majority, you have to deal with the coalition partners, right? And as you know, that in Rajasthan, we are just a couple short. I mean, we are 99. In Madhya Pradesh, we are short. And we are now looking at the Lok Sabha election. So we need to actually put up a front against Modi during the Lok Sabha election. So I think that it's experience that really matters. People have been in government for 20, 30 years. Their experience does matter. A young person would find it difficult. Then there's also the caste factor that comes into Indian politics. So I think that the government and Rahul has made the right choice. But I'm glad that Sachin is the Deputy Chief Minister. And I'm sure that Chaudhury is going to get an important role in politics in Delhi. And I think that you are now seeing the evolution of young leadership. And I think 5 years down the road, they will be in place. And we'll have a young leadership in India.
So, okay, one last question, Kapil, and then I'll take the audience questions, which is that, you know, clearly what has come out in these elections, and it's about time, is that the big distress sector is the farm sector, you know, and one really needs a new vision for the farm sector. And Sachin Pilot has been at Algebra before, and he said the Congress very clearly has a politics which believes that it must empower the disenfranchised. But I have two questions to you. One is that what is this vision for the farm sector that the Congress has? And secondly, there's also an extremely aspirational class in India today. We are the youngest country in the world. By 2020, 70% of us are going to be under the age of 29. That is a huge, huge phenomenon. How are you going to speak to the aspiration of these people? You know, so when you speak for serving the poor, how are you also going to serve aspiration? Could you answer those two questions?
I'll answer those two questions. Number one, on the farm sector, I have a different take. My party has announced loan waivers. We support that. But I think the real distress in the farm sector comes from somewhere else. Most of the farmers, wherever they are located, don't have access to banks to borrow capital. Right? Banks are far away. Many of them don't know how to take a loan. And banks ask for collateral when they give a loan. Of course, for the less privileged, they don't ask for collateral. Many of these farmers actually borrow money from money lenders who give them loans at 18%. And there's a study done by the Tata Institute of Social Science in Telangana, where they investigated the state of farmers, about 700 to 900 farmers, and some of them committed suicide. And they found that none of them had taken loans from the banks. All the loans were coming from money lenders. So I would, apart from the loan waivers, the one thing that I would want Congress to do is to have an enactment to abolish all loans to money lenders, which farmers have taken throughout this country. That's going to be a big bonanza.
But that is the private sector. How can you adjudicate
You
the
can.
private sector?
We've done it before. It has been done in states before. You have a Money Lenders Abolition Act, by which you abolish all the loans taken to money lenders. Because I mean, that's how farmers are in deep distress. That's number one. Number two, I think what we need to do is because there is surplus labor at the farm level, because when there was seeding of land, and that was in the 70s, families have grown, so those families can't be accommodated in the land. So you need to have agro-industries, and you need the connect between the city and the farmland, and therefore this what the BJP was opposing all the time. We need to have a cold chain of supply of farm products to the cold chain centers in the cities so that they get an appropriate, and allow the private sector to actually set up those cold chains, and so that the farmer gets an appropriate price the day he produces his product. And I think we need to set that in place, and a much better market mechanism through the use of technology. That's for the farming sector. On the aspirational side, I think we need huge investments in education. And if I were the education minister, which I won't be, I would.
Which soothsayer told you this?
Because I don't want to be in the government anymore.
That's a big admission today, Kapil.
No,
Does Rahul Gandhi know that?
I know, but you know it now. I have no desire to be in government. No, the point
That's tragic.
No, it's not tragic. I think there's a time when Sachins should move forward. Those who have retired, Sachins in cricket, should retire. No, on a more serious issue. So I think aspirational India needs to be educated. You can't have people moving forward in life without education, and quality education. Now that can only be done, and vocational education, exceptionally important, because everybody can't be a doctor or an engineer, which all mothers in this hall might want their children to be. But, so what you need is have the private sector, take for example telecom sector.
Fathers want them to be bankers. Since you said mothers.
Fathers want them to be bankers, but nowadays a lot of them want them to be lawyers as well.
It's the only nuclear holocaust-proof profession there is lawyers.
Okay, so now, if I were an education minister, what I would do, take the telecom sector. Telecom sector has huge number of towers around the country. Now somebody has to maintain those towers. So you give tell the telecom sector to set up institutions or schools, and we'll give you a tax break. Train young people to maintain telecom towers, and millions will be employed only in the telecom towers, which have to be maintained. Similarly, take manufacture of automobiles, right? Now, most of it is automation, but over and above that, let them set up institutions, give them a tax break to recruit people into the automation sector. So take, for example, textiles, and so take industries like that. Build a vocational training center, give them tax breaks, so that people get employed in the local areas wherever the industry is located. This is what the United States of America did. Now we need to do that. That's created a lot of jobs in the rural sector. Jobs means money. Money means fueling the economy, the rural economy. If the rural economy fuels, demand increases because most people reach the food, and your GDP increases. So that's what you need for aspirational India. A lot of institutions, allow private sector to come in. Technology, use technology, connect people, connect universities, allow universities to take up courses, joint courses. And there are huge things that can be done. But nobody's looking at any of this, unfortunately.
Thank you for that, Kapil. I'm just going to take some questions. Surya, Vishal Mathur is saying, is calling the PM a chore, not a degenerative political thinking, reducing the status of the post?
No, I think what happens in politics is that Newton's third law of motion is at work. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
You mustn't ever say that, because it reminds one of what Mr. Modi said after Godhra, which was action and reaction.
But that's exactly the problem. That's exactly the problem in politics.
Shouldn't Congress keep its own bar?
That's not the point. That's not the point. You say that, where is this Vidpa getting her money from? You heard that from Modi now?
But then should you speak the same language?
It's not a question of same language. It's not the question of same language. In politics, if you don't speak the same language, people think that you are afraid. People think that, look, Modi is getting away with all this. Your cadres will tell you, why are you quiet? Why are you quiet? We kept quiet. Remember when Manmohan Singh was Prime Minister? What happened to us? What happened to us? We kept quiet. All these people are abusing us on a daily basis and calling us chores. We never said anything. And what happened? So I think they should also know that if you're going to do this, then we're going to expose you as well.
But though I must, that's the one thing that one should be able to say for Rahul Gandhi is that barring this one phrase that he's been using about Chaukidar being the chore, it's the one feather in his cap is that he's kept his political discourse very, very civil.
No, he was very gracious in victory.
That he has done. Surya is asking, what about an Indian GDPR and protect users' privacy? I'm sorry, I didn't understand that question. Yunus is asking that the current government has successfully hijacked the social media and mastered the WhatsApp university. How do you combat fake news and fix this rhetoric?
Well, I don't agree. I think the social media, the Congress Party is doing quite well on those social media platforms. But yes, their army is much larger than ours. But I think now people are getting used to the fact that you need not necessarily believe what you see. Because they've gotten used to too many promises being made. And a lot of this fake news is also getting exposed. There are a lot of sites, alt news and many other sites are out there which show that, this is fake, don't rely on it. So I think that lots of people are doing a lot of work. I don't think it's really going to matter in the next election.
And also there's been a lot of discrediting of that through Cambridge Analytica, and it's become a global phenomenon of anxiety, so people are more careful about it now. Vinit is asking that the personal opinion of X of having a heart in the right place isn't very different from the opinion of Y, who may think that someone else has their heart in that right place. How does one identify who is appropriate for our country?
Well, you look at his face and decide. If you hear those speeches, you know who's telling a lie and who's telling the truth. I think by now people should realize that now.
Okay, just one last question. I'm sorry, there's no name attached to this. The diversity of India is a strength. Solving our problems due to differences in our country needs more creative solutions. Our diversity is not going to go away. So what are the ways of combating the many different needs of this country? What are your comments?
I think that yes, around the country, the needs of particular sections of society are different. So I don't think that you can govern India from New Delhi, nor can you govern Rajasthan from Jaipur. Right? You need to actually go to those areas and see the problems that people are facing and find in situ solutions. Unless you do that, you're not going to be able to get the support of people. And I think people are worried about their daily lives, and people are looking for tomorrow, not for misery, but for hope. And that's really what you should provide them.
So just to end on one last note, Kapil, which is of introspection, which is very uncommon in Indian politics, and you've shown yourself willing to do that, not just assertion, but introspection. If you were to say the one takeaway from the debacle of these past years, what would that introspection be?
Well, I think part of it is the fact that complete lack of organizational structure in the Congress Party. Real problem. We don't appoint our ECCs, we don't appoint our DCCs. I think the big netas don't reach out to people. Accessibility is a problem. Arrogance sometimes is a problem. I think that we need to be, remember, as a lawyer, when a client comes to me, I don't have to lord over him. Quite frankly, I learn a lot from him. But I will only learn a lot from him if I listen to him. Please stop listening. If you don't listen to people, you'll never be able to provide solutions.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah.
Please allow me one question. Ours used to be a democracy which allowed us to stand in the middle of the street and criticize our government or our leaders. Today, if I were to send a message out to friends that criticized our leaders or our government, I can be arrested without a warrant and kept in jail. What do you make of that, Mr. Sibal?
Well, I think it's a very dangerous situation, and we've been suffering this. In fact, not just that, sir. People are charged with sedition. If you start criticizing somebody on social platforms, people have been actually prosecuted for sedition.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it's a very, very serious issue. But then I think that the people have to make their choices in 2019. That's the only solution to the problem.
In fact, I was just going to say, if Kapil was going to be glib about it, he'd say that's why you got to vote for us.
I didn't say that.
You didn't. You put it
You have to
up-
vote for yourself. You know
That's
what
what
you
I said.
want in life, what you need in life. That's what you should vote.
Well said, Kapil. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks
Thank you
a
for
lot.
being here with us. Wonderful New Year, and Algebra will be back in January. Happy New Year to all of you.